iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Show. FullTimeFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Full-Time Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto, get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. All right, let's get to some news and notes, and then we will get to the games of Week 7. Let's start with the Cardinals are bringing in Spencer Ware and Jay Ajayi. Do you know why they're doing that? Because David Johnson's hurt. Bad ankle. How about Cliff Kingsbury that you told us about this so that we could all have started Chase Edmonds, the fantasy god that he was. Now, I started Edmonds in a couple of leagues. I did, because I was desperate. And, oh boy, 35 points later. Thank you, Chase Edmonds. But man, I have Chase Edmonds in at least 80% of leagues. I would have used him all over the place. I mean, come on. So now we know that Johnson is legit hurt as opposed to illegit hurt, because Spencer Ware and Jay Ajayi is going there. Now look, Chase Edmonds is not going to lose carries. That guy looked tremendous. Okay, but they have a tough schedule coming up, so they need some depth there. Okay, so let's see what else is going on. Baker Mayfield practiced on Monday. He was dealing with a hip injury, but there's a real bad matchup for him. He's got the Patriots coming up, so good luck with that. And if you have to start him, you might want to seek other options. All right, so we know the Thursday night game is coming up between the Redskins and the Vikings. So there's a couple of notes that came up. Firstly, Case Keenum is going to start. Why? Because you can't replace a guy in a short week. Even if you wanted Dwayne Haskins, you can't do it on a short week. Now, I don't think Bill Callahan wants Dwayne Haskins, but I think you can't bring him in when you only have 3 days of practice. Okay? So that's on the Redskins side. On the Vikings side, I would be shocked if Adam Thielen plays. Okay? It's a short week. They don't need it, so just assume that Thielen's not playing, okay? It's a short week. They should win this game. Diggs, Olabisi Johnson, Kyle Rudolph. That's what's going to happen. So there was a report that, by Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, by the way. Love to see that from SI. The Patriots inquired about O.J. Howard. Of course they did. That's why the Patriots are the Patriots, because they inquire about guys like O.J. Howard. That's smart. How come every team didn't inquire about him? Why is it only the Patriots? Ridiculous. All right, Matt Ryan is dealing with a sprained ankle. We're going to watch that closely. I assume he plays, but, you know, they play the Seahawks this week, and then I think they have a bye in Week 9. Could we see Matt Schaub? I guess so. What do the Falcons have to play for? Nothing. Maybe it's a smart move to sit Matt Schaub. I don't think you're beating the Seahawks this week. I don't think you have any chance of beating the Seahawks this week. Of course, I think that way, and everybody thinks that way, maybe means that the Falcons will play well. And let's see, Drew Brees is going to start to practice this week, so we're going to watch that closely. I know he's going to want to get out there, but I don't know. Teddy Bridgewater is doing a good enough job. I don't think there's any reason to rush Brees back unless we have to. All right, let's look at the week's games. Let's go backwards. We'll start with Sunday night's game. The Dallas Cowboys against the Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys drubbed the Eagles. Doug Peterson, what did he say? Oh, I'm guaranteeing this game. I'm guaranteeing this game. Seriously, Doug? If you better do a better job of that. Because all you did was rev up the Cowboys. You revved up the Cowboys, and now your team lost by 27 points. That's not good. Okay? Dak Prescott, 239 yards passing. He threw for one. He ran one in. Zeke Elliott had over 100 yards. I mean, they just beat him in every facet of the game. Carson Wentz did not have enough time to pass. When Dallas Goedert is your number one receiver with 69 yards, you know you're going to lose this game. You know it, right? You got to get Zach Ertz more involved. You got to get Jeffrey and Aguilar. I mean, look, sometimes the box scores tell me everything. I look at the box scores and I go, I know why this team lost. When Dallas Goedert has the most receptions for the most yards, boom, the Eagles are done. And Carson Wentz needs to throw for more than 191 yards. That's just not good enough in the NFL. What games are you going to win with that? For Dallas, I'm a little upset at Michael Gallup. I expected more. I'm just being quite honest with you. I expected more, and I didn't get it. So I'm a little disappointed. All right, let's get to some of the games here. I'm trying to find them. Why can't I get them? My computer's killing me. Come on, guys. There we go. All right, Dolphins and Bills. Let's start up here. The Dolphins played pretty well. I got to give it to Ryan Fitzmagic. He played pretty well. But, here's some buts. Why do the Dolphins want to win? They don't want to win. They should want to lose. So I want Fitzpatrick to do exactly what he did yesterday. Play well enough to be competitive, but not well enough to win, because I don't want to win. Kenyon Drake is going to get traded. All right, the guy had 9 touches. Mark Walton had more touches, had 15 touches. I think the baton is being passed there. I think that Mark Walton ran really well last week. If you're looking for a receiver, for a running back, get him now. If you're looking for receivers, I like Preston Williams. I've liked him all year. I put him on as many teams as I possibly could because I knew this could happen. Devontae Parker's played well, but Albert Wilson's done nothing, and Preston Williams is legit. So there you have it for Miami. For Buffalo, some shocking things. Frank Gore should have done better, right? Devin Singletary should have done more. I think this was a lot of, we expected a bigger game, but at the end of the day, it's the Bills. What do you really expect from the Bills? Gore had 11 carries, Singletary had 7, John Brown made plays. The defense made plays. They didn't have to do that much. I like the Bills a lot more this week against the Eagles. I think they will have to do more, which makes them a better team for fantasy purposes. So don't be upset about what happened. Just digest it and move on. All right, Aaron Rodgers was spectacular. So let's talk a little bit about the Raiders' defense for a second. The Raiders are good at stopping the run, bad at stopping the pass. And I should have been more on that DFS-wise. It was my mistake, and I won't let that happen again. I didn't have any part of Aaron Rodgers, and I really should have. I don't know why I didn't. Aaron Jones, though, had more touches than Jamal Williams. But, the whole thing, Graham and Allison and Williams and Lazard was out there for a lot of snaps. Valdez-Scantling had a couple of big plays. But this team is in dire need of Devontae Adams. Okay, they need that number 1 guy. I think that helps them immensely. But 6-1, the defense played great. They were beating the crap out of them. They had to go to Mike Glenn at the end of the game. So what does that tell you for the Raiders? Josh Jacobs is a revelation. The guy had 124 yards rushing. And Darren Waller is spectacular. You can play those 2 guys every single week. But I'm telling you, they need Zay Jones desperately. Hunter Renfrow done nothing. Keelan Doss has done nothing. They need Tyrell Williams and they need Zay Jones. That would help the Raiders immensely. Really would. All right, Cardinals and Giants. So let's talk about a lot of things here. Firstly, Cliff Kingsbury killed many fantasy lineups. If you didn't put Chase Edmonds in, I'm sorry. I truly, truly am sorry. I don't think anybody knew this was going to happen. Edmonds was so good, they didn't even need to throw the ball. 21 attempts. That's how bad the Giants' run defense was. Kyler Murray, 14 for 21, 100 yards. Seriously. Larry Fitzgerald did nothing. Nobody did anything. It was just basically Chase Edmonds and some really, really good defense by the Cardinals. They had a ton of sacks. Chandler Jones had 4. I think they had 8 on the game. Patrick Peterson's presence made a huge difference. The Giants' offensive line, which had been playing well, looked terrible. Daniel Jones looked terrible. Evan Engram, 1 for 6 and a guy that a lot of people probably started. Because why? The Cardinals have the worst pass defense against tight ends. Red Ellison scored, but not Engram. And Saquon Barkley didn't have any room to run. The Giants, this couldn't have been any worse for the Giants. Could not have been any worse. So, I don't know. We got to watch that closely, Giant fans, because that was putrid. It should have been better, and it wasn't. All right, the Colts against the Texans. Jacoby Brissett is a pretty darn good quarterback, and I love how the Colts look. At 4-2, they look really legit. I think they are the most complete team in the AFC outside of the Patriots. They run the ball well, they pass the ball effectively, and they play really good defense. Why did they beat the Texans? Because Deshaun Watson had no time to pass. Now, you're going to look at Deshaun Watson's numbers and say, oh, he was really good. He wasn't really good. It was garbage time. It was big time garbage time in the fourth quarter, and they let him make those plays. Okay? They couldn't run the ball, and they had to go with Hopkins, and they had to go with Stills because Will Fuller got hurt, and that's a big problem, right? You lose Will Fuller, you have issues. I think Kenny Stills a good pickup this week. T.Y. Hilton, sensational. Ebron made a great catch. But I think this was defense. This was defensive based with the Colts, who are a really good team. And Marlon Mack is going to have a big week next week. I know he didn't this week, but he had the opportunities. So keep an eye on Mack. Okay. You're looking at the Vikings-Lions game, and you're like 72 points. What did I miss? I think it was very simple. Okay. Firstly, you missed the fact that Kerryon Johnson was injured. As soon as he got injured, the Lions had to change the way they played. Because Ty Johnson and J.D. McKissick are more scat-back PPR type guys than they are legit runners. Right? Once they got rid of C.J. Andervomit, they changed their offense. So the second Kerryon Johnson was out, they started throwing the ball. Which meant Marvin Jones, which meant Amendola, because Kenny Golladay was covered, right? And we knew Kenny Golladay was going to get covered. I should have been on that DFS-wise. I apologize for that. I should have had more Marvin Jones. I mean, you have Marvin Jones. You're my rich friend today, right? You are. Adam Thielen made a great play early in the game, but he got injured with a hamstring. Like I said, he'll be out this week. Diggs stepped up and was magnificent. Dalvin Cook was the bomb. The bomb. 25 for 142 and 2 touchdowns. The Lions are not very good at stopping the run. I really like Saquon Barkley this week. He will have a week, and I think he will be underowned because people saw what the Giants did last week. Many people might think that the Dolphins are the worst team in the NFL. I don't. I think the worst team in the NFL, the Bengals. Bengals are terrible. You look at Andy Dalton's numbers and you're like, oh, it wasn't so bad. Oh, it was bad. It was terrible. They have no chance of winning. Joe Mixon had 10 carries for 2 yards. I want you to process that. 10 carries for 2 yards. Do you think an offensive line is important? I mean, Tyler Boyd, 5 for 55. Auden Tate, 3 for 65. Alex Erickson led your team, 8 for 137. That's crazy, crazy to me. Jacksonville just did what they did. They gave the ball to Leonard Fournette, threw the ball to Westbrook, threw the ball to Chark, threw the ball to Conley, and they won this game. They just are better than the Bengals, who are terrible. I would basically get rid of Andy Dalton. I'd trade him for a box of Krispy Kreme donuts, and I'd go 0-16, and I'd tank for Tua. Beat the Dolphins at their own game. I mean, seriously, you're not winning with Dalton, are you? Minshew's going to lose his job, by the way, but I think he's been very effective. All right, the 49ers against the Redskins in a monsoon, in a slip and slide. So firstly, I want to say that I was wrong. Normally, I never let the weather affect how I play fantasy. I should have realized there was a monsoon here. I thought it was rain. You know, hey, rain. This wasn't rain. This was rain. Okay, they couldn't throw the ball. They couldn't catch the ball. They couldn't run the ball. I mean, they couldn't do anything. Now, I know this happened late, but if you were in a league, maybe you should have just gotten rid of Jimmy Garoppolo or all these guys. I mean, the only 2 people worth playing were the 49ers defense and Robbie Gould. I mean, Adrian Peterson, to his credit, had 81 yards, but Case Keenum, 9 for 12 for 77 yards. Garoppolo at least did a little more, but this was just a run, kill, couldn't do anything. If you use Kittle, I'm sorry. I am. He'll have better days, but this is a disgusting day. But good win. Good win for the 49ers, 6-0, heading into the tough part of the schedule. So exciting times there. By the bay. All right, the Rams and Falcons. The Falcons have to worry. I mean, Matt Ryan is injured. Their defense may be as bad as the Bengals and the Dolphins, and the offense is not any better. Devonta Freeman is so frustrated he's getting into fights with Aaron Donald. How's that as a good life decision? I mean, they have nobody. So Ito Smith is injured. Freeman can't run. I mean, what are you going to do? You got Brian Hill? I mean, that's what you think you're going to win with? Julio Jones was blanketed by Jalen Ramsey, who played an inspired game. Ridley did very little. I mean, basically, it's Austin Hooper or bust. Austin Hooper might be the MVP of that team. True. I thought for the Rams, Jared Goff did enough. He didn't have to do that much. He pretty much stopped playing in the fourth quarter, right? But Todd Gurley, I thought, looked very good. Now, if you played the Rams in DFS, I can't blame you. Don't blame yourself. Who would have thought that this game would have been an under? Who would have thought that the Falcons would have played this poorly? I mean, Kupp, Woods, Cooks, Everett, they were all primed to do well. They didn't have to because the Falcons were so bad. So please, don't beat yourself. Don't confuse the results with the decision. It wasn't your fault. But I will tell you whose fault something was. Anthony Lynn. How are you playing Melvin Gordon? He is terrible. Check out my prescription notes article. There were some stats I want to give you here. So let's see. This is courtesy of Evan Silva, okay? Since Melvin Gordon returned, 27 of his 36 carries have gained 3 yards or fewer, with 2 fumbles. 11 of his 14 targets have gained 3 yards or fewer. All told, plays intended for Gordon are averaging 2.3 yards. Please somebody tell me why you're not playing Austin Eckler more. Somebody. I mean, the Chargers are 0-3 since Gordon's return. Why did you need him? What did you need? This guy is terrible right now. Terrible. Eckler looks great. Hunter Henry looks great. Allen and Williams are solid. You need Eckler. More Eckler, less Gordon. Let's switch it up. Let's give Eckler 16 carries. Let's give Gordon 5. You might win a few games. Just throwing that out there. Now, for Tennessee, you know it's coming. Just play Tannehill. Absolutely outrageous. Ryan Tannehill, 23 for 29, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns. I can't speak highly enough. He balances this team out. Mariota was so bad this team had no passing game. You bring Tannehill in. Corey Davis has 80 yards and a touch. A.J. Brown, Adam Humphries, Jonnu Smith. He made everything better. Is he good? No. But he made Derrick Henry better. Why? Because there was a threat of a passing game. 22 for 90 and a touchdown. I love Tannehill moving forward because he's not bad. He's not good. He's a perfect guy in a 2-quarterback league. Not going to kill you. Seriously, he's not going to kill you. All right, the Ravens and the Seahawks. Did you watch this game? How bad was Mark Andrews? I mean, this guy was dropping legit open passes. I mean, literally in his hands. I thought that his hands might have had like oil on them. I just don't understand what went on. Thank God for Lamar Jackson. If you look at his numbers, 9 for 20 for 143 yards. Please don't blame him. He put 3 right on Mark Andrews that should have been caught, 1 for a touchdown. I mean, that was terrible. But Lamar Jackson, he doesn't need you to catch because he can run. 14 carries for 116 yards and a touchdown. The problem is when he does that, you don't really see a lot of Mark Ingram. So Mark Ingram is a guy who is touchdown dependent. But Miles Boykin, I told you this guy's stepping up. He looks like a guy who's getting better at a 50-yard catch. I like him. And I thought Hunter Hurst made a great catch. If Mark Andrews can't do what Mark Andrews needs to do, Hayden Hurst is pretty good. Did I say Hunter Hurst? I meant Hayden Hurst. He's a pretty darn good player. He was a second-round pick last year. For Seattle, look, they just couldn't get anything. They just couldn't do anything. They couldn't run. They couldn't throw. And I thought that Marlon Humphrey played some really good defense. I thought the Ravens secondary was special. Marlon Humphrey locked down Lockett. And I think that the Seahawks don't have extra gears. Metcalf and Brown and Moore, they're not great players. Lockett is a great player, but when he was shut down, the Seahawks were in big trouble. Okay, speaking of big trouble, the Bears are in big trouble because Mitch Trubisky is really bad. Now, you may look at the box score and say, Dr. Roto, 34 for 54 for 251 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was pretty good. He got that all in the fourth quarter. I mean, going into the fourth quarter, the Bears scored 10 points, and the game was out of reach. Teddy Bridgewater was better than Mitch Trubisky. Fact. I mean, David Montgomery, 2 carries for 6 yards. I mean, we're talking about 17 yards rushing. I mean, I know the Saints' defense is good, but they had no respect for Mitch Trubisky. Allen Robinson played great in garbage time. Anthony Miller played great. It was good to see that. But I think we should be talking about the Saints and Teddy Bridgewater. Sensational. If Drew Brees only has another year or 2 left, Bridgewater could be the guy for the future. Latavius Murray, outstanding, 27 for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Michael Thomas, 9 for 131. You knew this was going to happen. Those two guys you start every week, even against the Bears. That's who they go to. Or Kamara, obviously. All right, let's take a look at tonight's game very quickly. People are out there. I know Scott Atkins, who works for us at Full-Time Fantasy and Sports Illustrated, he feels that the Jets are going to win tonight. I don't know about that. I think that the Patriots are going to stop Robbie Anderson completely. I think they're going to neutralize Le'Veon Bell. I think they're going to see a lot of Jamison Crowder. Crowder makes a lot of sense. Maybe even a guy named Vincent Smith. Keep your eyes on him. I know the Jets like him, and they're going to need to use him as much as possible. You can't use Bilal Powell or Montgomery because you have Bell. For New England, obviously I like Tom Brady. I like James White tonight. The receiving core is a mess. Ben Watson, LaCosse, and Izzo are out. Edelman's questionable. Gordon's out. Gunnar Olszewski's out. I like Jacoby Myers. I think he's an interesting play. I might go Myers. I might go Edelman. I might go Ben Watson. I think the Patriots win this game, but look, they are decimated this week. So maybe this game with the Jets will be – it's going to be as close as humanly possible, right? It's going to be maybe, 24-21, something like that. I think the Patriots win because they're better, but it will be closer than people think. All right, time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. If you need to win tonight, I wish you luck. I hope you do well. I'll be rooting for you. All right? This is Dr. Roto saying be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Full-Time Fantasy. There's never been a better time to join and go full-time. Visit fulltimefantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO50 for 50% off your first 2 months. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time.